I got antsy and got way far ahead, but here's what I'm doing. I'm taking this old pump and we'll make a water fountain out of it. See the tubing running out of it? I've already started to paint it after I dug it up out of the yard. I started to paint it, cleaned it all up. Then I went to Harbor Freight, and they've got these little bitty pumps right here for $9. It only pumps 3.5 feet, but that's all I need. Next thing I've done is I've got ahead and I dug 2 holes. That little hole is for the pump. This here is for the water. I've cut slits in it so I can fold them back. What I'll do is I'll pin these back with nail or something. I'll find something long to jam in there. And then I'll rim it with some heavy plastic. That way the water doesn't get into the dirt and the dirt doesn't get into the water. And then I'm gonna cover this. I'll cover this. I'll put a grate over it and then put some screen wire over the top of that to keep all the nasty stuff out. And then I'll cover it in these rocks and nobody will ever see it. Nobody will ever see this part because it'll be buried in the rocks. And then the pump, when it pumps, it'll pump into the bucket and then it pumps back into the fountain and it just keeps circulating. I haven't decided whether I'm going to use this bucket that I've had hanging on it for years. I've had this bucket hanging on that for years. It's got holes in the bottom of it. But I haven't decided whether I'm going to use it or not. But that ought to look pretty cool sitting right there, pumping water. And if I put a solar powered spotlight on it, that'd be real cool. But we'll see about that part. We'll see if it works first. It'll work. So tomorrow I gotta work on the bucket, finish painting it, and I'm just about there almost. That's why I put that electric in, which I didn't tell you guys, I don't think. I ran this outside, ran this, and I ran it all the way down to the carport. And on the carport I've got a light in each corner, one in the corner of my truck and one in the corner over here. That way the thieves that try and break in my truck, that way they can see what they're doing. But I use GFS plugs, all conduit. Yeah, I got a plug there, got a light there and a light there. Can't really see that one. Anyway, looks pretty cool when it's lit up at night. That was a lot of hard digging, boy. That ground was hard all the way up to there. So tomorrow I'll work on the bucket and I'll show you what I'm doing. Just how cool these lights are. How good it looks with the new lights. See, and by the time I get to the fence, one kicks on. Then I walk through the fence and the other one kicks on. Now, see that? See that? See, all bright. That's the way it should be. I had the bucket in. There's the bucket. And I've drilled a hole in the bottom of that and brought my tube through the ground there and into the bucket there. Paint job turned out pretty decent, didn't it? Made it look metallic gold. I still have this out here. I'm going to hook a stiffer piece of tubing other than this surgical tubing, because it's pretty flimsy. And then I'll seal around it, seal around that hole so that none of the dirt gets in here. I'm worried about dirt getting in this bucket and clogging my pipe up, or my pump up. But I'll set this in the hole, get it level, and hook the other pipe to it, I think. Yeah. And then I'll fill in some rocks around it. I'm going to use the rest of this plastic curtain here and kind of line this out a little bit so all the water goes back into the bucket. Then I got my grade there, and I'm thinking about wrapping it with this, looks like yarn that came on a water filter. I'm going to wrap that and keep the finer dirt out of it. So we'll see how this goes. So far it's not too hard. Alright, here it is. I was able to get that thicker tube all the way up through there, so that's a good thing. Now I've laid this grade down, and I'll wrap that with that water filter string, and then I'll cover it with rocks, and nobody will ever know. I cut this to fit. I bent down them edges so the rocks won't poke through, or it won't poke through and the rocks won't stab the dog in the feet. But it's pretty lined up with the hole. I don't know if you can see the hole down there. Pretty lined up. It ought to work out just dandy. Just dandy. Things all nice and straight. So here we go. Works. And this is just a little 158 pump out of Harbor Freight. It all runs back into the bucket. I think I like it better with the bucket on. Makes more of a statement. Now I gotta do is put my screen and filter on. See how I lined it with string to catch the debris, maybe some of the dirt from the rocks. But I've got them, they're being soaked in water in the wheelbarrow there. I'll wash them off a little bit more before I put them on. There it is. Something I've been wanting to do forever. And now that I have electricity out here, I can do it. Pretty slick. Get me a spotlight for the nighttime. Well, let's put the rocks on it and see how it works. Look at that, would you? It works. Put a bucket on there. I did put the bucket on there because just that solid string wasn't enough for me. I put that bucket on there, put some holes in it. Can't even see the filter. Covered it all over with rocks. The only thing that I regret now is I don't have a way of checking the water. But I mean, it's all running back in there with all that freaking plastic under there. It's got to be running back in there. But if I put some water in there once in a while, it'll be all right. Can't tell whether all that splash around there is happening, which I anticipated happening. Some of that splash. There it is. By golly, got it to work finally for all these years. Had to put these things up here for support some of them rocks so they don't slide down. Sometimes that pump sounds like it's slowing down, but it's not. It's maintaining. So there we go. One official water pump fountain. See? If you can dream it, you can do it.